The paintwork is quite soft. Because of this, chips and scratches on the car body appear even from slight mechanical contact. The front bumper, hood and seals suffer the most. For the same reason, in places where paint contacts plastic elements at the junction of bumpers and body and door seals, the paint is earthed to metal. The problem is solved by pasting the problem areas of the protective film. As for the corrosion resistance of the body, it all depends on the year of manufacture of the car. For cars manufactured before 2009, the body has good protection against corrosion, so problems with it arise only after poor quality recover after an accident. But the owners of the restyled Toyota Yaris II often complains about the appearance of saffron milk mushrooms on the hood and seals, prone to corrosion the exhaust system. In any case, special attention should be paid to body diagnostics, since very often the first car owner honed their driving skills on it. Low beam lamps are not reliable, they burn out relatively quickly. The problem, it would seem, is trifling, but it will not be so easy to fix it. It is especially difficult to replace the right lamp. The standard headlight optics are rather weak. Because of this, it is hard to see the road when it is dark and it is raining heavily. The following power units were available for Toyota Yaris II: gasoline 1.0 69 horsepower, 1.3 86 and 100 horsepower, 1.5 106 horsepower, and 1.8 133 horsepower, diesel 1.4 90 horsepower. The most common was the 1.3-liter 2NZ-FE gasoline engine. By design, this engine is an exact copy of the 1NZ power unit with a volume of 1.5, which was installed on a car in a sedan. Of the common ailments of these engines, the following can be noted. Increased oil consumption. This problem appears after 150,000 kilometers of run. To eliminate the disease, it is necessary to do decarbonization. If this does not help, you will have to change the oil scraper rings. Increased engine noise. This problem appears on a run of 150 to 100,000 kilometers as a result of stretching the timing chain. The timing chain, its tensioner and damper needs to be replaced. Unstable operation of the engine, floating idle speed. The problem appears as a result of sensor idle speed valve failure. The same symptoms appear when the throttle valve is very dirty. Whistle, squeak during acceleration. Increased noise most often occurs with severe wear of the rear rivet belt. Increased vibration of the power unit. The most common cause of this deficiency is wear of the engine mounts, and the cause of an increase in vibration is often faulty fuel injectors and a clogged fuel filter. The oil pressure sensor has a limited resource. An indicator oiler on the instrument panel will notify you of its malfunction. The rear crankshaft oil seal is also not famous for its reliability. It can start to flow even with low millage. The pump after 80–100,000 kilometers loses its tightness and starts to flow. The biggest problem of these engines is the not repairability of the cylinder block, and therefore after 200–150,000 kilometers it will most likely have to be changed to a contract one. The use of lubricants recommended by the manufacturer helps to expand the life of the engine. A liter power unit has similar problems. The most powerful 1.8 engine, 2ZR, was widely used on such eminent models of Toyota Avensis and Toyota Corolla. The engine is reliable, but there are still a couple of drawbacks here. The most common, unstable idling, appears as a result of failure of the throttle position sensor and contamination of the throttle itself, treated by flushing. On cars of the first years of production, there is a problem with increased oil consumption, which can often be eliminated by flooding oil with a viscosity of 0W30, 5W30 instead of the recommended 0W20, 5W20. If the car has a high mileage, you need to check the compression before buying. At low speeds, extraneous noise from the engine compartment may suddenly appear. The culprit, as a rule, is the timing chain tensioner. In addition, the alternator belt may make noise, whistling. The pump resource often does not exist 60–70,000 kilometers. Also, the thermostat can be attributed to weak points. If it malfunctions, the engine refuses to warm up to operation temperature. Over time, the VVTi valve may start to stick, followed by dullness of the car and loss of power. The diesel engine is generally reliable, but due to the fact that such cars were used in corporate parks in Europe, the mileage of such cars is very high. Diesel from private hands is a very rare phenomenon. Most often, owners of Toyota Yaris II equipped with diesel engines are faced with early failure of fuel injectors. If there are problems with the fuel equipment, difficulties with starting appear, and the disease may also be accompanied by uneven operation of diesel engine or a sharp drop in power. Fortunately, the nozzles can be restored, which will significantly reduce repair costs. Toyota Yaris II is a front-wheel drive car that was equipped with 5-speed mechanics, a proprietary MMT, multi-mode manual transmission, robot transmission with manual shifting and a classic 4-speed automatic, mainly installed for sedans. Operation experience has shown that all types of transmission are quite reliable with careful operation, but there are still a couple of drawbacks in them. The robotic gearbox is very slow in automatic mode, pauses of a couple of seconds when switching are annoying and unnerving, especially if you need to speed up. In the event of a breakdown, may fail even after 50,000 kilometers, the repair will not be cheap. On average, they ask for about $1,000 for the restoration of the box. On a run of 100-150,000 kilometers, there is a high probability of failure of the MMT gearbox control unit. If there is a problem, the transmission will only operate in emergency mode. To extend the life of the robotic transmission during short stops and traffic jams at traffic lights, you must remember to turn on the natural gear. In mechanics, the clutch must be replaced every 100-130,000 kilometers. On some copies, the owner noted the appearance of difficulties with the inclusion of reverse gear. The running gear is knocked down and works out well of bumps on the road surface. Structurally, the suspension is simple. An independent McPherson strut is used in front and a semi-independent beam in the back. Due to the low weight of the car, even on our roads, the suspension does not often require investment. Most often, the racks and bushings of the anti-roll bar fail. They change every 50-80,000 kilometers. Silent blocks of levers and wheel bearings in most cases take care of more than 100,000 kilometers. Shock absorbers serve up to 150,000 kilometers. The support bearings also live about the same. Repair of the Toyota Yaris II front suspension as a rule is not cheap. The fact is that the original ball bearings and silent blocks are supplied with the levers and cost about $200 a piece. If you buy an analog, then you can invest in $60. The rear suspension is considered not to be killed. The silent blocks of the rear semi-independent beams with careful operation can please with a mileage of 200,000 kilometers. In steering, the steering shaft crosspiece requires special attention. It can wedge. Fortunately, the problem is not widespread and was found only on cars of the first years of production. Steering tips serve 120-150,000 kilometers, thrust up to 200,000 kilometers, change assembly with the rail. The braking system is reliable. The only trouble that can await the owner is the souring of the handbrake cable. Front brake discs should be periodically checked for corrosion. The fact is that in the early stage the problem can be fixed by cleaning the disc. If you start the disease, the braking performance will deteriorate significantly, and to fix the problem you will have to change the disc. The Toyota Yaris II salon makes a double impression according to the first emotions. Everything is very interesting, modern, and most importantly, it's not boring, but like most budget cars, it disappoints the quality of the finishing materials. The leather steering wheel braid, not only is it unpleasant to the touch, it also quick rubs off, and the inscriptions on the interior electrical control buttons are not famous for their good wear resistance. Plastic does not stand up to criticism either. On the upper part of the front panel and two glove compartments, it is thin and sonorous, moreover it is quickly covered with stretches. There are also complaints about the soundproofing of the cabin. Sounds from under the wheel arches make their way at speed, and there is also a feeling that the engine rumble comes from the instrument panel. As for the reliability of electrical equipment, as a rule, there are no complaints about it. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.